Lucie Warfield with Fathom Realty, and I'm super excited to have a guest with me today. Would you like to introduce yourself, Sarah?
Sure. I'm Sarah Neale, and I'm with Republic Title, and I am based out of our McKinney location at the corner of Ridge and Virginia in McKinney.
Excellent. So today I just wanted to take a minute. They are a great partner that I work with to help my clients meet their needs and talk about how things are changing. So I had a couple of questions for you. The first one is, how has COVID-19 affected the market?
Well, there's the official answer out there on the news. You see the national news, which just terrifies everybody. You see the local market, which is still very, very strong. Residentially, Dallas-Fort Worth is still on fire. And then you have our local market. And what I always tell people is, yes, we're in Dallas-Fort Worth, but every community has a microeconomy. So we are looking at a microeconomy of, really McKinney, Allen, you go up a little north to Central, you go over to Frisco, and our area, even as far as Wiley and Fate, it's still on fire. We have agents that even without open houses in person, where they're doing virtual open houses, where they're doing virtual showings, the contracts are still pouring in. And I'm checking with the market. The every other agent out there is still doing a lot of business. It's a little harder to do because there's more steps, but the business really hasn't slowed down. We just finished April and had more business in April in this office than we did last April.
That is amazing.
So it really is. And the talk from agents such as you, I talk to agents all weekend. I kind of get the temperature of what's going on. People are uncertain, but they're still moving ahead. And if they're qualifying and they're getting the loans, the deals are not canceling because of COVID. They are canceling for reasons completely unrelated to COVID. All the reasons you can think of.
Yes, and so we're definitely seeing that. We got one under contract last night, and we had lots of people out looking. So there's very low inventory. So right now, if you're thinking about selling, it's a great time to get your house in the market because the buyers are looking for houses. And so when we get these to closing, how are these closings looking now? I know we've had some, what I love is that y'all want to keep everybody safe. So how would you describe that?
Well, first of all, we keep saying over and over in our office that we are so blessed that this happened, if it had to happen, in spring, because the weather is just breathtaking. And so that's helped. We're not in a rainy December. And that being said, we have two major options that we offer repeatedly. The first one is we would still love to see you and make the experience great with what we call a drive-up closing. Some people call them drive-by closings. The goal for that, I know, it's like Kroger pickup, except there's no groceries, and you have an entire closing in your car. A lot of people feel very safe with this. They feel very reassured with this. And we do go over the closing statement with them. We encourage them to take their time, but they sit in the parking lot with the documents. Ideally, they've seen the closing statement in advance. There's absolutely no surprises. There's no shockers. We don't want to stare them down while they sign, so we sort of leave them to their own device, but then we're right inside the door if they need us. The other option is there's a lot of people still very uncertain about getting out, and we respect that. And so we have a remote service that will go to them. The remote service, of course, is no cost for the time being. We're just not doing that. It doesn't seem logical. If we can make a customer comfortable, the closing services, though, do want an open air setting. So if they do go to a home or an office, they're requesting a patio, a front porch. They're very flexible. They just, everybody wants to stay safe. So not just the signers, but our main focus is making sure clients feel comfortable. We've had a few people nervous about how it would look. They come, and I think it's just an atmosphere and an attitude thing. And like I said, the sunny days don't hurt at all. They're really easy.
I know, and they're so excited to get into their new homes. So I love when they send me the pictures. For me, it's bittersweet because I love a closing, and I know that they're getting their keys, and that's the most important thing. But I'm just getting to share that experience with them and share the pictures and share the joy, because it is such a celebration to either, get into transition or get your new keys.
Yeah, they are.
So lately, I've been having some people ask me, and this always comes up, and since I have you on camera, this is not a new question, but what is title insurance and why would someone want to get it? Because I usually give them the paper, but I thought if we could tell them, you always have great answers. So
My favorite response to that question is one our chairman, Bill Kramer, always taught us, and it really answers very sufficiently for me. You want title insurance because what we do is we insure the past, and we insure your date of purchase into the past. And someone would say, well, why do I care about that? Why am I concerned with that? It's not just your rights to ownership. There is so much built in to what the title policy protects you against. The biggest, I would say, mistake everyone makes across the board, no matter what role you play in real estate, central appraisal district, tax office, is taxes. We protect you against past due missing tax collections. We protect you against judgments that are out there that haven't been filed yet that pop up. We protect you against homeowners association mix-ups where there might be a fee still due and if you close. So there's a lot of insurance. And what we do is we make sure that when you purchase, your risk goes from this to this. We want your risk to be as small as possible when you buy the home. And if something comes up, which it often does, it's usually small, but even the small thing is something you don't want to have to handle. A past due transfer fee on an HOA somebody missed, a tax proration that needs to be managed between the parties later. And I also say the built-in benefit of the intangible or the non-financial piece of title insurance is, you close with me in April, you close with us in May, we're still here in the community next May, it's several years later. So if you need something on down the road after your appraisal notice comes out or your tax bill comes out, it wasn't one visit, we're finished, I'll never talk to you again. We encourage people to call us months later. So it's not just the policy that you're buying and you're receiving. You get that assurance from the national underwriter we use, but you get that local community connection too, where we'll help you for years to come because we know we're going to see you at the grocery store. We're going to see you at our kids' soccer games. We want you to be our neighbor and in our community.
and that relationship is so important. I love to stay in touch with my clients, seeing what's going on and having questions answered and just ongoing education of good things to know as an estate owner. So this has been very helpful. And I have one last question that came up as we talked earlier before this. I said,
yes.
we could have never imagined this coming if we thought in December, and no one would have predicted the changes. If there was something we could hindsight tell people or going forward tell people, what would be the best advice you'd have? And you came up with something and I instantly looked it up and started working on it. So would you share that?
Absolutely. I teach classes of I teach certain classes to real estate agents across the Metroplex. I teach internally at our company as well. And I always start with a public service announcement. I have to start that I'm not an attorney, but even not being an attorney, with all of the 20 years of experience I've had doing real estate and the title, always, always, always get a will. Get a will. Go to LegalZoom.com if you need a basic will. Invest in a real estate attorney who will help you develop I shouldn't say real estate attorney, but a family attorney. Something that dictates what you want to do with your property if you die. A lot of people are terrified to talk about it because they don't want to talk about death, especially right now. It's very stressful. I can't tell you what a blessing it is for heirs and people that you care about to have a will on file. Nobody wants to lose you, but the best gift you can give someone is even a basic will that indicates what you want to do with your property. One of the most common misconceptions is if you're married and you die, that half of the property goes to your spouse immediately. And that's not true. You have to have a will to do it. This is probably where I'd pause because I don't want to get too deep as I'm not an official counsel, but I've just seen disappointments so much when people fully intended for their spouse to inherit the other half of their property, but because they didn't have a will, there's so many extra steps of labor that are necessary to sell the home. And if you get a will, it's a done deal. It's one conversation. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to itemize your jewelry and your personal effects, just something that shows us your intent. So when you do pass, we can properly guide your heirs and your family on what your best intentions are for the property. Does So get a will. And if you need help and know where to go, call a real estate attorney and get some advice on where to go. They're very cheap. You can do them as cheap as $50 online. You can go in depth. My husband and I invested in a very small little package at one point, and it's one of the safest things I've ever done for our family. So get a will.
That's such great advice, because you never know what's going to happen. And I have clients come to me where they have got a house and now they need to deal with the house. They don't know what to do, and they have to go into probate, and it's very expensive and it takes a long time. And that's just something that could help anyone and everyone, because you never know. But I'm so excited that we got to have this conversation, and hopefully we'll have some more in the future, because this can really help answer some important questions for people, and we can get people moving to their new house or transition, however it may look. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Thanks for inviting me. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.